A few slices of raw fish, laid out on a plate. No cooking, no sauce, no fuss. It looks like the simplest thing a chef could ever serve. Just fish, and a knife. There is no recipe to follow, and no technique you can obviously see. That is exactly what makes it so deceptive. But sashimi is one of the hardest dishes in the world to do truly well. And that difficulty is almost invisible. There is nothing to distract you, and nothing to blame. If something is off, you taste it instantly. Because the gap between breathtaking sashimi and a sad supermarket tray is enormous. And it has almost nothing to do with the fish. By the end of this video, you will understand what actually makes great sashimi. And why the knife matters more than the fish itself. There is a hidden craft in every single slice. So let's decode it. First, let's be clear about what sashimi really is. It is fresh fish or seafood, sliced and served completely raw. No rice, no heat, and almost nothing added. Just the ingredient, presented at its absolute best. But calling it raw fish misses the entire point. Sashimi is really about three things working together. The quality of the fish, the skill of the knife, and above all, the cut. Most people focus only on the fish. The two that matter most are the ones nobody talks about. And quickly, before we go deeper. Thank you for actually watching this, instead of just scrolling past it. Stick around, because the reason a sharp knife matters is stranger than you would think. Let's start with the fish. And here is the first surprise. Freshness alone is not the goal. People assume the best sashimi is the fish that was swimming 5 minutes ago. But that is not quite right. What matters is how the fish was handled from the very first moment. A fish caught roughly and left to thrash can be ruined before it ever reaches the kitchen. The damage happens early, and it cannot be undone. The gold standard is a method called Ikejime. The fish is killed instantly and precisely, and its nerves are destroyed. This sounds harsh, but it is actually the humane and technical ideal. It stops the fish from struggling, which would flood the flesh with stress chemicals. A stressed fish produces lactic acid and breaks down faster. Its flesh turns soft and loses that clean taste within hours. That is why the very best sashimi restaurants care about the fishing boat, not just the fish. The story starts out at sea. Ikejime keeps the flesh clean, firm, and clear. Done right, it can hold a fish at its peak for days instead of hours. And then, surprisingly, some fish is deliberately aged. Not spoiled, but rested under careful control for hours or even days. That resting lets natural enzymes break down proteins and deepen the flavor. The fish becomes more tender and far more savory. It is the same idea as aging beef, just far more delicate. A day or two can turn a good fish into a great one. Different species also peak at different times of year. The Japanese have a word for this, shun, the moment a fish is at its seasonal best. A chef chooses the fish, the handling, and the timing all together. So before a single slice is made, a dozen small judgments have already happened. Quick note before the second half. I have full, separate breakdowns of the wasabi and the sushi world that surround this dish. You will find them at the end of this video and linked in the description. So if one grabs you, you can head straight there. Now to the heart of it all. The knife, and the cut. A sashimi chef uses a special knife called a yanagiba. It is long, narrow, and sharpened on only one side. That single bevel edge is razor sharp, sharper than almost any kitchen knife you have ever held. It is closer to a scalpel than to a cooking tool. Chefs care for these knives like treasures, sharpening them on stones by hand. A single blade can last an entire career. And that sharpness is not for show. Here's why it matters so much. When a dull knife pushes through fish, it crushes and tears the delicate cells. That damage makes the surface ragged and the texture mushy. The fish loses its clean bite and its shine. A truly sharp knife does the exact opposite. It parts the flesh cleanly, in a single smooth pull, without crushing anything. The result is a glassy, mirror-smooth surface that catches the light. And that clean surface actually tastes better. It is not just poetry. A smooth cut releases flavor cleanly, while a torn one leaks and turns dull. The same fish, cut cleanly, is a completely different experience. And the cut is never random. The chef reads the fish and chooses the angle, the direction, and the thickness. Soft, delicate fish is often cut thicker, to give it body and presence. Firm, lean fish is sliced thin, so it melts rather than fights back. Get that thickness wrong, and even perfect fish feels clumsy. The right thickness is the difference between elegant and chewy. Some fish are cut straight, others on a long diagonal to increase the surface. There are even named cutting styles for different situations. This is why the same tuna can feel completely different from two different chefs. Give 10 of them the same block, and you would get 10 different results. The fish is identical, the hands are not. One understands the fish, and one is just slicing it. So in sashimi, the cut is the cooking. There is no pan and no fire, but the knife is doing the real work. Watch a master, and the motion looks almost too simple. One long, confident pull, and the slice is done. But that ease hides thousands of hours of practice. All of the craft happens in a few silent seconds, with a single blade. There is no going back and fixing a slice. Each one is a small, final performance. Now, sashimi is not eaten completely bare. But the accompaniments are there to support the fish, never to hide it. A little soy sauce, and often real wasabi, sharp and clean. Some ginger to reset the palate between different fish. Notice what is missing here. No lemon to mask, no heavy sauce to drown, nothing to cover a flaw. The key is restraint. You dip lightly, on one edge, so the fish still leads every bite. And there is even an order to it. You usually eat the lighter, leaner white fish first, while your palate is fresh. Then you move toward the richer, fattier cuts, like fatty tuna. That way each piece tastes like itself, instead of being buried by the one before. It is a small ritual, but it is built around respect for the fish. Every step protects the flavor. Even the plate and the garnish are chosen to frame the fish, not distract from it. Nothing on that plate is there by accident. But here's what most people miss. Sashimi is not about adding anything at all. It is about taking everything away. No cooking, no sauce, no spices, no disguise. And when you remove all of that, only two things are left. The quality of the ingredient, and the skill of the hands. That is why sashimi is the ultimate test of a Japanese chef. There is absolutely nowhere to hide. A mistake in a rich, saucy dish can be covered up. A mistake in sashimi is right there on the plate, in plain sight. The chef is completely exposed. Their whole skill is measured in a few thin slices. So the whole dish is really a philosophy. Choose something perfect, and then do almost nothing to it, perfectly. That restraint is one of the deepest ideas in all of Japanese cooking. It takes more skill to do less. Anyone can add flavor, it takes a master to need none. Confidence enough to let a single ingredient stand completely alone. So here is your takeaway. Sashimi is not just raw fish. It is pristine fish, handled with care, and transformed by a single, perfect cut. The fish matters, of course. But the knife, and the hand behind it, matter even more. So the next time you see a plate of sashimi, look closer. Those clean, glossy edges are quietly showing off. They are the signature of a steady hand and a perfect blade. Once you know that, you can almost read a chef in a single slice. Now I would genuinely love to know. Have you ever had sashimi so good it changed your mind about raw fish? Tell me in the comments below. And here is the one moment I will actually ask. If this gave you a new respect for that simple slice, leave a like, it really helps the channel grow. And subscribe if you want more of Japanese Food Decoded, one dish at a time. To go deeper right now, the video on the left breaks down exactly how sashimi differs from sushi. And on the right, you can decode miso, another pillar of Japanese flavor. See you in the next one.